Hi everyone, and welcome back to Anytime Español.
Just a couple of weeks ago, we went over how Spanish compares things that are different or not equal. So that's when you're going to try to express things that say like better than or worse than, or greater than or less than, or older than or younger than. And if you missed that video, you can check it out here. And we'll also leave the link in the description of this video. But that means today we need to cover when Spanish compares things that are equal. That's when things are the same, as much as well as, or as the same amount of degree.
To do so, Spanish uses tan and tanto. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you still haven't.
And sign up for one of our memberships because we give PDF guides that go along with each of these videos that have extra explanations and practice, as well as audio listening practices with quizzes afterwards that test your listening skills. And we also are now doing a library of members-only videos. We actually just finished recording one this morning of this little town in Colombia that we're in right now. So they're pretty fun to do, and we know that you're gonna love them and not only increase your cultural understanding of Spanish as well as the language. So check out those memberships. You can also go to Buy Me a Coffee and donate to the channel, or at least head to our website and get yourself a free gift.
Okay, let's start with tan plus adjective or adverb plus como.
Okay, so in this structure, we're gonna use an adjective when two things share the same quality. And we're gonna use an adverb when an action is done to the same degree. So to understand that, let's go over a few examples. The new apartment is as spacious as the old one.
El nuevo departamento es tan amplio como el anterior.
Okay, so here we can see that we have tan plus an adjective plus como because we're comparing that the two apartments, the old one and the new one, share the same quality. They're both as spacious as each other. Her explanation was as clear as the professor's.
Su explicación fue tan clara como la del profesor.
And here you can see that the comparison shows that both explanations had the same level of clarity. He reacted as calmly as possible during the emergency.
Reaccionó tan tranquilamente como pudo durante la emergencia.
Now here, tan modifies the adverb tranquilamente to show that the action was done to the same degree. So it's as simple as that. If you're comparing how something is or how an action is done, you're always going to use that tan and then an adjective or an adverb and then como.
Next, when we want to equally compare amounts, we will use one of these forms of tanto plus noun plus como.
Now this structure is used when you're comparing how much or how many of something there is. Now the key thing to remember here is in this structure, tanto is used as an adjective, which means that it has to agree in gender and number with the noun it modifies.
For example, if we're talking about money, which is masculine and singular, we'll use tanto.
But if we were talking about the noun flowers, which is a plural feminine word, we would need to change it to tantas. So then let's see a few examples. What if we were to say, I have as much work as free time right now?
Tengo tanto trabajo como tiempo libre ahora.
So here you can see that we want to modify the noun trabajo, which is singular and masculine, so that's why we use tanto trabajo. She has as many responsibilities as her manager.
Ella tiene tantas responsabilidades como su gerente.
And here, responsabilidades is a plural feminine noun, so we need to change it to tantas. We received as many complaints as compliments.
Recibimos tantas quejas como elogios.
So again, quejas here is plural and feminine, so we need tantas before it. So that's the biggest thing that we need to remember about this structure. If a noun follows, tanto has to agree with it.
Now, when you're comparing how much an action happens with respect to a verb, tanto plus como comes after the verb.
So for example, we could say, I work as much as my coworker during the week.
Trabajo tanto como mi compañero entre semana.
Now, you may have noticed before we said tengo tanto trabajo. We were talking about trabajo like it's a noun, but here we're using yo trabajo tanto como, we're using trabajo as a verb. So when we use it in this structure, the tanto como has to come after the verb to show how much the action happens. So don't get confused with that. She worries as much as her parents about money.
Ella se preocupa tanto como sus padres por el dinero.
So again, you see tanto como follows the verb se preocupa. They travel as much as they did before the pandemic.
Viajan tanto como antes de la pandemia.
So remember, 80% of what confuses Spanish students can be prevented if you just always try to keep in mind that tan is followed by an adjective or an adverb, and tanto comes before a noun or after a verb. Now, I know that's technical, but after a bit of practice, you're gonna get it. But let's test your knowledge in this video. So we'll do a really short quiz where Darcy is gonna say a sentence in Spanish, and you'll have to fill in the blank before she gives you the correct answer. Okay, ready? Good luck.
No pensé que la película fuera blank, buena, como todos decían. No pensé que la película fuera tan buena como todos decían.
Okay, so here, buena is an adjective that's describing the movie. So we need tan buena como.
Este mes he tenido blank, gastos como ingresos que no he ahorrado nada. Este mes he tenido tantos gastos como ingresos que no he ahorrado nada.
So here, gastos is going to be a plural masculine noun. So tanto has to agree with that noun. So it's tantos gastos.
Mi abuela cocina blank, bien, como cualquier chef profesional. Mi abuela cocina tan bien como cualquier chef profesional.
Here, bien is an adverb describing how she cooks. So with adverbs, we need tan bien como.
No tenemos blank, tiempo como antes para vernos entre semana. No tenemos tanto tiempo como antes para vernos entre semana.
So here, tiempo is a singular masculine noun. So tanto has to agree with it. Tanto tiempo.
Ella tiene blank, paciencia, como su mamá cuando trabaja con niños pequeños. Ella tiene tanta paciencia como su mamá cuando trabaja con niños pequeños.
So here, paciencia is a singular feminine noun. So our form of tanto is going to be tanta, tanta paciencia.
Siempre te preocupas blank, como yo, cuando hay exámenes importantes. Siempre te preocupas tanto como yo cuando hay exámenes importantes.
So here we're comparing how much an action happens with a verb. So remember, we need tanto como after the verb. So, how'd you do? Now you should know all of the ways to compare things equally in Spanish using tan or tanto. But if you still have any doubts or questions, leave us a comment.
And we want to give a big thank you to Rick Munoz for becoming a YouTube member. Gracias, amigo. And thanks to Sarah for your Buy Me a Coffee donation.
Now watch this video to keep improving your Spanish. Until next time.